What is going on, Guardians? Doc here, and today we're going to talk about a few things that I think the community as a whole is quite upset, and quite frankly, I'm ambivalent. I'm 50-50% as to what is going on with the new campaign that just dropped. Of course, we're talking about Destiny 2, the Lightfall campaign, and there are a couple of things that I am a little bit concerned about, but I'm also a little bit hopeful for the future. When my team and I started the campaign, one of the first questions that we had was, okay, who is this game for? New players versus old players, and what's the dichotomy challenge here? And what I mean by that is, for new players, at first impression, this expansion and the campaign, if they don't know anything about it, it's going to be a lot of fun. I personally had fun with my team, going back and forth, doing the campaign, understanding the new quality of life improvements, and as a whole, it was good. It was great for us. However, now that I've done the campaign 3 times, I have a different perspective and view. You can say that I'm probably one of the few gamers out there that actually enjoyed the campaign and what this DLC has to offer, from my limited perspective thus far. Now, I first premise the first question around this video as to who is this game for? Because the reality is, as I mentioned, if you're a new player, everything is great. If you're an old player, or a veteran, as we like to call them, you understand what's been going on for the past 4.5 to 5 years. And to be quite honest, in addition to that, you know the advancements, the tribulations, some in the community will call on the pain that we have endured, based upon providing ample feedback to Bungie for many, many years, right? We have provided feedback on several things that I will also discuss in the video. So I think this campaign, this new DLC, this dichotomy, I feel that there is this world of new player versus the veteran. And Bungie, I think, is still trying to find the middle ground in some instances, because there were a lot of accessibility, quality of life updates that I think were great in this game for brand new players. However, there's still some challenges. And the first one that I want to talk about is marketing. And the marketing, kudos to the marketing team. I think they sold us on an amazing high level expectation of an end game of so many core elements that we thought were going to be necessarily addressed, and in reality we sort of didn't. And what I mean about that marketing, the accessibility versus the expectations, is as follows. I think that there were a lot of great accessibility features in this DLC. The armor, the weapons element, the changes for solar void stasis, and how everything works. I think it's great for a brand new player that does not necessarily have access to DIM, which is the Destiny Item Manager, and all the other extra perks and benefits that us veterans have enjoyed for quite some time. So I think in that sense, the marketing, piece of this will be a great way to get into Destiny 2. The campaign and the DLC as a whole did work for a brand new player. And the reason for that is because I tested it. I gifted a few copies to a couple of brand new players. And when I asked them for their feedback, they said, this is fun. We love it. We're still not sure as to what exactly is going on, but this is great. So getting that perspective from them sort of helped me realize that, again, this DLC, there is a dichotomy challenge. Is it for the new player or is it for the veterans? Now, talking about expectations, I think for us veterans, for the past couple of months, we have been seeing ample feedback on Twitter, social media from Bungie. We even received a state of the game, providing a sort of in-depth look as to what are our expectations, what exactly is coming for players. And I think a lot of us, due to the marketing, again, our expectations were so high that when the final product arrived, we saw many of these challenges not necessarily being addressed. And I can understand where the community is coming from, especially veterans who are upset and quite frankly feel as if they are throwing money away because of the ample years of critical feedback improvement, towards the game. Now, one of the things I also sort of want to bring up, which was a little heartbreaking to a certain extent, are the new weapons. A lot of weapons were reused. Just the color, just the archetype. Some archetype was changed, but primarily all of these weapons, we have seen them before. And if you go into the game, some of the weapons that you acquired, if you look at the lore tab, you are going to see a description that these weapons are from the moon, and that the game itself is poking fun at the fact that these are reused assets. I don't know exactly who at Bungie felt that this was actually a good idea. I think it's a little bit of adding salt to the wound, because a lot of folks are also upset around this. Now, I am all about repriced weapons. I think there is a space for that. But when you are paying $40, $60 for a brand new DLC to get reused and repriced weapons, it's a challenge. It's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of folks. Now, for brand new players, they love every single item, and it was fantastic. They love the weapons, they love they feel, they're having fun. In fact, as of now, I'm still getting messages for the copies that I gifted around the fact that the game is enjoyable and the weapons are great. And I think there has to be a fair critical balance here, that if you are going to reuse weapons in a new DLC, then you also have to make an investment to make them unique, to make them stand out. Because as of now, there's only probably one or two weapons that I would like to sort of farm, even craft, just to add it to my repertoire of armor and guns and builds. Not necessarily I have any need to go back in there and say, I need to get this gun because it feels too similar. Other than a few graphic designs and making it beautiful just doesn't do it for me in that aspect. Now, I do want to give credit to Bungie on some areas, because a lot of the assets in terms of the campaign, the environments, felt very similar to me. When I first landed at the new location, I immediately felt, are we playing the Scourge of the Past? Hashtag I miss Scourge of the Past. Are we playing this? Are we in this environment? And some of the rooms, I felt that I was in Europa, that I was in other planets, and other places that I have visited before. So I did give credit to them in reusing assets that we already have, but make them look different and in a way unique. So I give kudos to that, to Bungie. I think that was, again, a great job in that aspect. However, the armor and the guns feels too much been there, done that. As for the new player, this was all life-changing. This was all fantastic, and they cannot wait to see more. Now, evolving the narrative, it's always been, I think, one of the great things about Bungie in terms of the lore. And this campaign, out of all the ones that I have done, the narrative, the evolution, the setting the stage, what's next in terms of the supers, for me felt short-sighted. Do not get me wrong. I loved it. I think it was fun. I had a great time with my gamers. But now, looking from a perspective of a veteran player, looking from a critical standpoint of view, I honestly believe that this campaign, there were a lot of loopholes and a lot of things that were missing. I personally was hoping to see a continuation of the Witch Queen, where Sabathum sort of left with her ghost, and then she came back and sort of educate us and push us towards the narrative around connecting to what's next. There was a lot of things that were high at the beginning, and then a lot of things that felt short at the end. I think they could have done more around that aspect, and a lot of things were missing, at least for me. Now, in addition to the campaign and this DLC, some of the things that I didn't like right at the top is time gating things, especially for the new supers like Strand, which I think Strand could be a good addition to the game. But as of right now, with the limited, paywall, whatever you want to call it, this limited time gating aspect, for veteran players who want to try new builds, new things, we feel again sort of pushed aside from the big picture. And as it currently stand, Arc, Solar, and Void are much stronger and much better than Strand, and I don't have much of a use for it until I'll be able to access those other things that are time gated, which I do not understand why. I think if there would have been a good reason, for example, like if you're a brand new player and as you complete the specific things, you will get access to Strand, that will make a lot of sense. But for folks who are 4, 5, 6, 7 years into this game, this whole time getting notion, again, it feels like you're punishing the player, especially the veteran player. And what sort of tends to happen is players are going to leave, or if you go into Steam, into other reviews, you're going to see thousands and thousands of downvotes because, again, they are getting the same medicine, and it's not, curing the disease. It's making things worse for the player because there was an expectation that was highly elevated, and sadly, they're not delivering upon that. Which, talking about delivering, and going just a little bit back about the new player versus the veteran player. Again, for the new player, fantastic, all of this. For the old player, veteran player, it feels like, again, they're adding salt to that wound. Moving on. Core Plagueless. Where do we begin with this one? This one hurts so much. And let me explain why. For the past, I will say 3 to 4 years, the community have provided ample feedback to Bungie around the Core Plagueless, specifically for this example, strikes. During this campaign, we received, or this DLC, we received 2 strikes. Actually, we received 2 strikes that were already reprised, old strikes, but got some sort of new update and change. To be quite honest, for the community out there, a lot of these changes for the veteran were unwarranted. In fact, it would have been much better to bring all reprise strikes and just bring it back into the game, refresh the loot pool, and that would have been great. But the reality is that resources were used to 2 strikes that were just already found, didn't need any investment whatsoever. It took away from what we've been trying to say for so long. The DCV was supposed to help, and if this is the case, is right now, in my opinion, it's hurting the Core Plagueless. Because as difficulty has increased, we have yet to see any reward come back to us to justify these changes. As of now, there's no need to do strikes. And most of my peers and colleagues and gamers, when they see the 2 strikes that were updated, I know exactly what's going to happen. They're going to go back to orbit and try to find another strike that they can do fairly quickly. Because again, the reward and the respect for time investment is not there yet. Now, for the new player, everything was amazing. Everything was awesome. They loved it because, again, they don't know any better. Moving on, Crucible and Gambit. We have been asking for so long for new maps, new strategies, new way to play this game. And in reality, this DLC, while they are promising some new changes in a later season around Gambit and Crucible, it is really difficult to justify that we only have received 1 map in the past 3.5 years, and that map, a vast majority of folks don't enjoy it, don't prefer it. Obviously, I'm not going to summarize or speak on behalf of the entire community, but based upon the feedback that I have seen in many social media channels, when it comes to Crucible and this new map, a lot of folks don't like it. So we were hoping, expecting that there would be a focus that has been promised for quite some time around delivering assets in Crucible and as well as Gambit. We didn't see that, and we didn't see that during this DLC, and quite honestly, it's quite painful to see. Now, I want to be fair to Bungie, because I have to be, and I try to be objective, but we did receive a state of the game where a lot of these issues that we are currently talking about are going to, quote-unquote, be addressed at a later date. There are some plans for it, what have you. I personally would have preferred that the Lightfall DLC would have been sort of put aside, or maybe we would have waited longer for another 6 months just to be able to see some of the things that we have asked for today. I would have much prefer a delay. And if Bungie were to come out to say, you know what, based on COVID, based on resources, based on the fact that we just got sold for $3.2 billion, creative changes, all the reasons you can think of, we're going to take another 6 months to 8 months to a year because we believe in this game. And the last time we had an amazing Forsaken type of DLC was 3 to 4 years ago, and we want to deliver up to those expectations. One of the expectations that I had is when Witch Queen dropped, they said in one of their videos that if you like campaigns like God of War, Witch Queen will deliver some of that expectation. And in some aspects, that was true. So my expectation for this campaign was to match, if not supersede, Witch Queen in that capacity. I was not asking for Forsaken. I was not asking for Taken King. I was hoping at the same level of return. And with the state of the game, to be fair, things are changing, quote unquote. Things might be coming back. Things might be improving. But I feel quite terrible for a lot of my peers in the community because their faith is either gone or dwindling down. The last two pieces that I sort of want to bring up are the lore. The lore, I think it was fair, but during this campaign, there are way too many loopholes. And if you don't know what the lore is for the new player that might be watching this, simple. It's very simple. Think of a library that explains what you just saw in writing, but in greater detail, in more specific items. And I think that the lore on this end, there are way too many loopholes that I'm still trying to figure out what just happened in this campaign. And I'm hoping that we don't have to wait an entire year to get some clarity about some of these issues that we are facing in Destiny 2. As for the endgame content, I still do not know what that is. I don't know if it's Neomuna. I don't know if it's going to be the raid. But the question that I'm asking is, as of now, what is the value or the time investment for me to repeat the campaign and to repeat some of the things that are available if the loot is not impressive or I don't have a need to go after it? For the new player, I think it's going to be great. For the veteran, that's a question that they had to answer themselves. Because as of now, we are living in a world where we have paywalls, where we have time-gated notions, where we had to sit a week there just waiting to get the things that we pay for. As a customer myself, as a business owner, if I forcing a customer to wait for so long, I would lose that customer. I honestly do not understand the logic and the process behind this, and I think this needs to go a way of improve, which I believe during the state of the game sort of essay or article was actually addressed. Now, comparing the campaigns, I already did that a little bit, and I'm not going to go too much into it. But I honestly feel, again, that if they would have taken a continuation for the Witch Queen to what we have now, I think we would have gotten a much greater end product. And I want to end with the following. Fun factor, for me it was. For the new players that I gifted the DLC, it was fantastic for them. For me, it was fun because I played with the lads, friends. We were laughing, we were engaging, we were yelling in different languages. And I think that is the beauty of what Destiny can offer to new and veteran players. And honestly, this DLC, if you're a brand new player, you're going to love it. It's going to be great for you. You're going to have fun, and you're going to discover a lot of amazing things. So my advice for you is do not take the words that I'm saying and deter you, stop you from playing this game. I personally, as a veteran, I have a commitment to my friends and colleagues, and this is what I use for my therapy. So I will continue to play this game for many years to come. At its worst and at its best, because I honestly believe that it has helped me for my mental health across the board. Now, the big question here that a lot of colleagues in the community have been asking me is, Doc, is it worth $60, $40, $50, or even $100 and something for the entire year? My response to them and to you is this. That is absolutely entirely up to you. I, for one, whenever I go to watch a movie at the movie theater, I'm paying between $50 to $60 plus parking, plus, you know, maybe some snacks. And before we even realize it, I'm up to $80 to $100, right? And probably the movie the last one that I saw was terrible. So I spent $80 to $90 for 2 hours of my time that I know for a fact I am not going to get back. But I spent $60 on this expansion, or for whichever the number was, right? 60 to 100 for the entire year, because we did a video on the collector's edition. I spent the first 7 to 14 hours with my friends doing the legend campaign. We laughed so much, and to me, the mental sort of healing energy was absolutely perfect and worth it. And that laugh and that connection did wonders for me. So the question you need to ask is, what is the value to you? Is it 600 hours compared to another game, 900 hours? Or is it simply just sitting down every day with gamers just like yourself, having a good time? I think for me, you already know the answer, and I'll leave that entirely up to you. I want to appreciate you for listening to this little rant for my analysis around the DLC, for the preliminary analysis for the DLC campaign. This is Doc, speaking from the heart, very raw, very unedited, just giving it to you straight because I prefer it that way as well. With that said, thank you again so much for stopping by. Please, if you like this video, share it, and if you're able to subscribe. Everything we do here at Crealities supports charity. So again, thank you so much for stopping by. Till next one, and hopefully one day we see each other at the tower. Take care, Guardians. It's up. Bye.